It's a privilege to be here tonight to honour those who could not be. My name is Caroline and I'm a victim survivor of intimate partner violence. When I was asked to speak tonight, I wondered if I should turn down the invitation so they could get a proper victim, a real survivor, to speak instead. Why? Because the violence I have experienced has predominantly been non-physical in nature. My abuser never hit me. He groomed me, luring me into the relationship with him based on lies about who he was. He robbed me of the ability to give informed consent to the relationship. During the relationship, he gaslit me and controlled me, but he never hit me. After I ended the relationship, he initially refused to accept that it was over. He stalked me, harassed me, and continued being controlling of me. He has undermined my safety and that of my family, turning my life into what has at times felt like a living hell, but he has never hit me. I've spent nights lying in my bed, frozen with fear, wondering if the noise I heard outside is him. It was most likely the neighbour's cat, but when you're being stalked and harassed by your ex-partner, you honestly never know what he's going to do next and at what point he will ever stop. But he's never hit me. He has cost me thousands and thousands of dollars and occupied hours, days and weeks of my time. He has cost me my health, my well-being, leaving me with PTSD amongst other things. But he's never hit me. He has dismantled my sense of self, playing mind games with me to the point where I wonder if I am in fact going crazy. He has lied in court and to police, denying that he has done the things that I've reported him for and accusing me of things I've never done. But he's never hit me. Because he's never hit me, I've been completely powerless to set boundaries to protect my own well-being and safety. I have no recourse, no justice. So often, I have wished he would just hit me. That might sound crazy, but this is a sentiment shared by so many victims of emotional abuse, and it is a testament to just how destructive emotional abuse can be. Studies have shown that emotional abuse can be as damaging to a person as physical abuse. It can also be a precursor for physical violence and also, shockingly, for intimate partner homicide. There was recently a review of 150 intimate partner homicides in New South Wales that occurred over an 8-year period between 2008 and 2016. This review demonstrated that 99% of these homicide cases involved the abuser's use of coercive and controlling behaviours towards the victim. Of these, only 80% had histories of physical violence, meaning that 20% of the homicides had no prior physical violence in the build-up. Even in the 80% where the cases were physical, where there was physical violence preceding the homicides, it was not always frequent and sustained. This study and other similar studies and reviews show that the leap from coercive and controlling behaviours by abusers to homicide is not as big as one might think. If these facts were well known and understood throughout society, perhaps we might take complaints of emotional abuse far more seriously. Perhaps we wouldn't automatically place them on the mild end of the violence spectrum. Perhaps reports made to police about emotional abuse might be escalated and treated with greater importance. Perhaps we wouldn't think a woman crazy when she is fearing for her life, despite having never been physically assaulted by her abuser. Perhaps lawyers would not advise women to keep the emotional abuse quiet in court lest they appear hysterical, petty, and mentally unstable. Perhaps the courts would not be so quick to place children in the care of parents who use coercion and control against the other parent, and often against the children themselves. They might rightly view it to be as serious and dangerous as physical abuse. Perhaps I wouldn't get a case of imposter syndrome whenever I think of my own experiences as being a legitimate form of abuse. Maybe I might have recognised it earlier. Maybe I could have gained protection from the systems that stand by and let this type of abuse go by the wayside every day. Why aren't we treating emotional abuse more seriously? Why do we say that some kinds of abuse are more okay than others? Around a decade ago, when I first started seeing a psychologist for the abuse that I've been subjected to, the words grooming, coercive control, narcissistic abuse, and emotional abuse were words I'd never heard before. There were few studies about it, and there was minimal understanding and awareness. 10 years on, studies have been done. We do have information. We know how dangerous emotional abuse can be. We can't hide behind ignorance anymore. What it comes down to now is whether we, as a society, have the will to change. Do we have the will to stop women being terrorised by emotional abusers who know full well that they can get away with their abuse? Will we continue to accept the death of an average of one woman per week at the hands of her current or former partner? In another 10 years, that will equate to another 520 women needlessly taken, leaving behind children, family, friends, robbed of their futures. 520 women. Let us not be standing here at a candlelight vigil in 10 years, knowing that we could have, should have done something. In honour of those women who could not be saved, let each one of us leave here today with a resolve to take action, to deliver the fundamental human right for all people to live free of all abuse.